What's going on, guys? Welcome back to NolanTCG, and we are back here today for another deck profile, and this time, it's for Blue Eyes. So I've been messing around with the new Blue Eyes support that came out for a little bit now, and kind of working around on a list. There is one change to this list that I would recommend that I just didn't have the cards for. We will discuss it when we get to it. Overall, this is a control list that very heavily focuses on putting out Blue Eyes' alternative Ultimate Dragon, simply because it's kind of like a Towers, isn't it? It's very difficult to out for a lot of decks, and yeah, we're just going to kind of throw it out there, see what we can do, and yeah, there's also some other cool tricks that you can do along the way. But before we get started, as always, please do remember to drop down below and hit that subscribe button if you are new here, because we are always happy to have new people to the channel. And let's get on into this deck profile. Before we do get started on this one, though, it is brought to you, of course, by yourplaymat.com, who got us our beautiful NolanTCG extra deck sleeves. These are available on yourplaymat.com, as well as you can get custom sleeves and custom playmats, so whatever you need for the current format. There is an affiliate link in the description down below that does get you a little bit of a discount on your order. Also, enter the code NOLAN10YP for 10% off your order. Also kicks back a little bit to the channel, so everything will be very much appreciated. If you're shopping there, you're getting custom sleeves, custom playmats down. Make sure to enter our code at checkout. But let's get on into this deck profile. Okay, so starting us off for our Blue Eyes list, we of course start off with 3 of our big vanilla boy. He has gotten a hell of a lot more important in the more recent builds of Blue Eyes. We've definitely gone from being on alternative heavy list, focusing now on the 3 vanilla Blue Eyes as being very important to the way you resolve everything. Then we hit the rest of our Blue Eyes line, so we are playing just 2 copies of Blue Eyes Alternative Dragon. 3 is unnecessary, given that you essentially just need the 1 to prop off the effects that you need. And even then, that's not 100% necessary, so just the 2 of them. It is searchable. You don't really need to go any much further than that. Then we play 3 Blue Eyes targets. So we have our 1 copy of Blue Eyes Solid Dragon. This is the preferable target to summon off Erratic Seal in the deck. We have 1 copy of Blue Eyes Jet Dragon. Of course, you do get that cheap recursion for it, and then it forces your opponent to focus on it. And then we have 1 copy of Dragon Spirit of White for removing back row in the Eldritch matchup. Then we get into, I guess, our smaller Blue Eyes cards. So we have, first off, our 3 copies of Sage with Eyes of Blue. Your simple normal summon add, typically using it to summon from deck with the discard from hand effect. And then we have our 2 stones following that up. 1 copy of Ancients, 1 copy of Legends. You can trim these ratios and trim them around and fix them around. But I found as though the 1 and 1 is all you realistically have space for in the list. So we've had to cut it down to 1 Ancients, 1 Legend. You can loop the Legend normally anyway, so you'll be able to get all of your Blue Eyes into your hand. And then the last of our smaller Blue Eyes lineup cards, we have 3 copies of the Dictator of D. I think this is the closest we're going to get to a Magician's Souls in the list, so we just got to kind of have to settle for what we get. It does get you through link materials and stuff like that, which can set up some pretty cute plays. But overall, it's just there to get you the dump. The special summon can come up. If it does come up, great. Sometimes it just doesn't. Your hand's not that great, and you can just kind of use the dump effect to try and revolve around getting a different combo off. But at the end of the day, it's the closest thing we have to Magician's Souls, and that's a pretty damn good card. So 3 copies of Dictator of D in the main deck. Then we have some Chaos Monsters. These come up probably not as much as I thought they would, so you can consider cutting them. We are playing the 1 copy of Chaos Emperor, the Dragon of Armageddon, and the 1 copy of Chaos Dragon Levianeer, just kind of comboing off as chaos stuff that you can get into a rank 8 with. Then we have our next line. This is actually surprisingly important, so if you can get to it, good. Also, for some reason I thought this was on the ban list, but it wasn't. We have 3 copies of Predaplant Orthos Scorpio and the 1 copy of Darlington Cobra. You really want to get Ultimate Fusion to your hand. Simply because if you can set it, you can get those pops off in your opponent's turn. And that is, of course, very good. That's what you want to be doing in this deck. Sometimes that's not 100% like doable, at which point you just can try to set up the towers off your Verte Anaconda. But if you do open this package, it does get you to it, and you can do some other cute stuff from there. Speaking of other cute stuff from there, that's what rounds out the rest of our monster lineup. Big surprise, we're playing the Celestial Dasher for our DPE package, and 1 copy of Scythe as well. With the correct hand, you do easily set up Scythe Lock plus the alternative Ultimate Dragon, and that is pretty damn good. Not a lot of decks can out that, especially when like you already give them the strife of having the Scythe Lock essentially locking them out of their turn, and then you slap a 4500 beat stick that you maybe also popped on your way out. Turn comes back to you. You can pop even more. Yes, you can't attack, but you're going to be just completely clearing off your opponent's board, and this can be very oppressive when you resolve that full combo. That full combo is essentially just Orthoscorpio. The full combo is Orthoscorpio, Dictator of D, and 2 discard targets. That will typically get you through to what I'm talking about. Then we hit our spell line. So we do have 3 copies of Return of the Dragon Lords, just generic extension. We play a lot of level 8s and they end up in the bin fairly easily. 3 copies of Melody of Awakening Dragon, of course getting to those level 8s. 3 copies of Trade-In, of course adding more consistency to the deck, discarding the level 8s. Guess what? All of these cards revolve around level 8s. Next off, we have probably the thing that I need to change out of the main deck, but ultimately I just didn't have the cards I wanted. I am playing 3 copies of Bingo Machine Go, but only 1 copy of Ultimate Fusion. The more and more that I tested out this list, the more I felt as though 3 Ultimate Fusion was correct because you want to open the card. I would definitely maybe consider playing 1 Bingo Machine Go and 3 Ultimate Fusion. At the end of the day, off the Bingo Machine Go, I'm revealing the 1 Ultimate Fusion and then 2 other Blue Eyes monsters. And I would personally rather just reveal the 3 Blue Eyes Fusion. And then, yeah, just kind of get the 3 Ultimate Fusion. Because it is just a better way to go. It gets you the card guaranteed on board. You can do other stuff with the materials that you have. So 1 Ultimate Fusion should realistically be 3 in the main deck. And then lastly, rounding out the main deck, we of course have our 2 copies of Fusion Destiny. Okay, now we get into the extra deck, and of course, starting us off with our fusions, we have our 1 copy of the new card Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon. Mainly in here just because it dances around Elvish really well. You don't necessarily always use or you don't really have a way to do it in the main deck of the set back the trap card. I very much considered playing Ultimate Creature of Destruction, but I just didn't feel as though it was overly necessary. This card is simply just here to dance around a lot of back row decks that run around in the current format. Then for our other fusions, I've talked about it a lot. It's what we essentially are revolving around in this build. Revolving around is our 1 copy of Blue Eyes Alternate Dragon. Just kind of coming out here and being very difficult for some decks to out. We have the 1 copy of DPE, of course, running out our fusion line. This is effectively just here to do DPE things, like it is in most decks. Our Synchro line is pretty brief. We've got 1 copy of Spirit Dragon and 1 copy of Black Rose Moonlight Dragon. We do only play the 1 Xyz in the number 38. You can change up the extra deck ratios to play the Dragublion package, but I've just found a lot of use out of all of the links that we're playing. There is probably 1 that you can cut, but it's just tight on the space that you have in the extra deck. You can opt to just completely cut the Synchro package just to play the Dragublion package if you do want to do that. That is an option you can look at. Then we go into our links. So we have our link 1s. Our 1 copy of Linkuriboh, just for getting rid of the stones on your turn. When your turn going second, we have the 1 Anima for doing effectively the exact same thing. And then we have 1 copy of Guard Dragon Pisty for our Sayuja combo to get us through to rotating our board so that it then involves our Heretic Seal of Heavenly Spheres. So you do need the Pisty so that you can cycle through to then put the spheres in the top zone, and then you can get into another link 2 underneath. And then we have those other link 2s. So we have 1 copy of Verte Anaconda, 1 copy of Crystron Halka Fibrax, very essential for comboing, and the 1 copy of Dagda for the Scythe Lock. And then we have our 1 copy of Dark the Dark Charmer Gloomy. This is, of course, is here because you do tend to get to easy link 2s that involve a Dark, and it steals your opponent's DP, and that's really cute. But now lastly, we have rounding out our extra deck, 1 copy of Sayuja, like I mentioned before. But that does wrap us up here for the deck profile for this one. So as always, if you do have any recommendations or things you would change, do make sure to comment them down below. And as always, I've been Ben from NolanTCG, and have a good afternoon, everybody.